Long before Elon Musk's famous Tesla EVs ever existed, electric cars practically ruled the roads. Then just as quickly as they became all the rave, they vanished. For 100 years, electric cars seemed like a myth, but now they're taking over. If you've always wondered how the concept of electric cars came to be, well, in this video, we'll reveal the insane rise, fall, and rebirth of electric vehicles and the future each one is racing toward. Over a century ago, electric cars were on city streets, competing head-to-head with gasoline vehicles. They were smooth, silent, and surprisingly popular, especially in the early 1900s, when roughly 30% of cars in the US ran on batteries. But they started to fade into obscurity for decades, and most people forgot they ever even existed. Now, history is swinging back. Experts predict that by 2030, up to 60% of new cars sold worldwide could be electric. This is literally a whole transport revolution. EVs could save millions of barrels of oil every day, slash CO2 emissions, reshape cities, transform industries, and change how billions of people move and work. But how did it become a trend again? To see where it all began, let's rewind to the time of the first electric cars. Back in 1832, a Scottish inventor named Robert Anderson built the first crude electric carriage. It wasn't very practical, but it was an inspiration. By the 1880s and early 1900s, working electric cars were taking over city streets. Around 1910, nearly 3 out of every 10 cars in the US were electric. They were quiet, clean, and pretty easy to drive. No more hand crank starting or sudden black smoke. All they needed to do was just turn a switch and go. The wealthy loved them, especially women who preferred not to have to deal with heavy cranks. Brands like Baker Electric and Detroit Electric became status symbols, but there was one issue: they had limits. Short driving range, slow charging, and high prices made them really vulnerable. To top it off, Henry Ford launched the Model T in 1908, so gasoline cars had an upper hand. They suddenly became cheap, fast to refuel, and able to travel farther. Within a decade, electric cars were fading from the spotlight, and just like that, the kings of the road were dethroned. But the fall of EVs was only beginning. In the next few decades, they would almost lose their reign completely. During the 1920s, gasoline had fully taken over, roads were getting expanded, and gas stations popped up on every corner. The internal combustion engine also kept getting better. It was more powerful, longer lasting, and cheaper to produce. Meanwhile, electric car batteries hadn't improved much. With no charging network, EV owners were stuck near their homes. Gas was cheap, fast to refill, and cars could go hundreds of miles. As the 1950s and 60s had more automobile revolution, the American dream started to mean big, loud engines, V8 muscle cars, and tail fins. Electric vehicles became rare, mostly seen in parades or as experimental one-offs. For most people, the EV was a forgotten history. But in the 1970s, the world would change, and who would have thought an oil crisis would give electric cars their first big comeback? This happened in the 1970s. The oil crisis hit, fuel prices skyrocketed, and suddenly, people started wondering, what if we didn't need gas at all? Small companies were quick with it. They built experimental EVs like the wedge-shaped Sebring Vanguard city car. These were slow and short range, but they proved the idea still had life. Then in 1996, GM shocked the world with the EV1. It was the first modern purpose-built electric car from a major automaker. Drivers absolutely loved it. But just a few years later, GM recalled and crushed almost every EV1. The 2006 documentary, Who Killed the Electric Car, turned it into a scandal. And soon enough, there were conspiracy theories that oil companies and automakers didn't want EVs to succeed. But the end of the EV1 wasn't the end of the dream EV companies had. No one knew one startup was about to change the game. In 2003, a small group of Silicon Valley engineers founded Tesla Motors. Their plan was simple, but quite daring. Start with a high-end sports car, use the profits to fund the luxury sedan, then built an affordable mass-market EV. The Tesla Roadster launched in 2008 and proved electric cars could be fast, stylish, and fun. Then came the 2012 Model S with long range, sleek design, and software updates delivered over the air. Elon Musk called it his secret master plan, and it worked. The Model S won awards and changed how the world saw EVs. Suddenly, electric cars were the future, and as you'd expect, whenever something's succeeding, the rest of the automobile industry wanted to get in on it too. And that's when the EV race truly began. By the mid-2010s, electric cars had finally started going mainstream again. The Nissan Leaf became the world's first mass-market EV, the Chevy Bolt pushed affordable range past 200 miles, and high-performance models like a Porsche Taycan and Ford Mach-E showed that speed and style weren't just for cars that run on gasoline. Even newcomers like Lucid Air and Rivian impressed people by providing EVs with luxurious comfort and great interiors. In China, one company called BYD gave others a run for their money. It gets even better. Battery tech improved fast, lithium-ion got cheaper and more efficient, and solid-state prototypes promised even better upgrades. Range anxiety quickly became a thing of the past as Tesla's supercharger network and Electrify America stations spread across highways. Then governments from the EU to China announced plans to ban new gas car sales in the next decade. The race for the top spot was officially on. But with so many companies in the race, where does the EV industry stand today? Well, today there are over 30 million electric cars on the road worldwide. Tesla is still the top-selling EV brand, but automakers like VW, Hyundai, and Ford are closing in. Drivers can now choose between hybrids, which mix gas and electric, and full battery EVs. Charging speeds keep improving with some stations adding hundreds of miles in under only 20 minutes. But amidst all of these, there's a catch. Batteries need materials like lithium and cobalt, and mining them raises environmental and ethical questions, especially in developing countries. Not to mention the fact that supply chains are tight, prices can spike, and there's pressure to recycle old batteries. So yes, the EV revolution is real, but it's not without its own challenges like every other industry we have in the world. But what does the future look like for electric vehicles and these challenges? First off, the next decade could change everything again. Solid-state batteries promise more range, faster charging, and better safety, with some planning to up their recharge time to under 10 minutes. Autonomous EVs could turn commuting into leisure time. Recycling breakthroughs might also ease the pressure on raw materials, while Tesla's upcoming Gen 3 aims to deliver a $25,000 EV for the public. Meanwhile, China's BYD, NIO, and XPeng are scaling pretty fast, challenging Tesla's lead. But the EV industry still has to overcome certain hurdles. Powering millions more EVs could strain the grid, battery waste needs managing, and material shortages could slow growth. Sure, the future is electric, but it's not guaranteed. No one really knows what will happen for sure. What we do know is that electric cars are the comeback of the century. From the quiet streets where the Baker Electric once rolled to today's high-speed Teslas, it's been a story of invention, loss, and an unstoppable return. We've literally gone from hand-cranked engines to silent, software-powered machines that can outpace supercars. If you learned something new today, then hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more real EV truths. You can also check out our other videos like this one about how you've most probably been single-handedly ruining your EV's range. Oh, let us know in the comments, what was the moment that changed your mind about electric cars? Was it a headline on the news, a test drive, or maybe a part of this history you just discovered?